Well, Kotoka International Airport renaming controversy grows with sharp political divisions emerging within Parliament.
I would rather prefer that it's named after one of the gang kings than Accra.
No, I support it. I think that it should be known as the Accra International Airport.
Well, tonight on Top Story, we delve into argument and from the controversy, Majority Chief Whip Rockson-Nelson Dafeamekpor suggesting renaming the airport after a Ga chief. We'll delve into this particular matter here on Top Story, always brought to you by Telecel Connect and Energies, Holy Insecticide Spray and Coil Enjoy, Holy Sleep, and by Short Pension Trust. Into the future with you. My name is Samuel Kojo Brace. Well, tonight, the renaming of Kotoka International Airport has sparked intense debate with sharp political divisions emerging within Parliament. The controversy centers around the government's plan to rename the airport to Accra International Airport, with supporters arguing it a step towards national unity and critics claiming it's an erasure of history. Now, Member of Parliament for Ofuasia Yorubi, Kojo has endorsed the government proposal to rename the airport, clashing with his minority leader, Alexander Dafeamekpor, who opposes the move. Meanwhile, Rockson-Nelson Dafeamekpor, NDC's Majority Chief Whip, suggests naming the airport after a Ga chief instead. First, let's listen to Minority Leader Alexander Dafeamekpor questioning the decision and arguing that removing Kotoka's name would diminish recognition of voter region heroes.
Airport, Accra is already there. Accra is already there, so you don't need to remove Kotoka's name from there. So if you come to Accra or even in the country, how many prominent votarians have their names on national assets or national monuments? This is the only thing the people of Volta region can also at least see as something that recognizes heroism from the Volta region, and that one too they are being denied. Well,
that is the minority leader Alexander Dafeamekpor there. We can now hear a member of Parliament for Ofuasia Yorubi, Kojo, who is endorsing the government proposal to rename the airport.
I think it's a good idea. I'll support it.
You support the name change?
Say again?
You support the name change?
I do. I support it. I think that it should be known as the Accra International Airport.
So you think it's a step in the right direction?
I think so. I'll support it.
So that's a member of the minority, Kojo there, who is, sort of agreeing with government's effort to rename that particular airport. But the Majority Chief Whip Rockson-Nelson Dafeamekpor has also weighed on the growing controversy, suggesting the facility should be named after a Ga chief. Speaking on PM Express, the Majority Chief Whip said reverting the name to Accra International Airport will reflect the symbolism of the land the airport on which the airport is located.
Oh, I believe, to be honest with you, I didn't follow that discussion early, but I got in sync from about a week or two ago. Okay. When I read that some CSOs had gone to petition, I think the president or so, and they were staging some demonstration to have that done. So I began to follow the process. But for me, I would rather prefer that it's named after one of the gang kings than Accra. Because even though if they say Accra International Airport, a name like Kintakitewia or Gamanche or some famous gang like Kwesi Saki, those people. So the symbolism will be more. I'll feel the symbolism more and than Accra. Accra is just like the capital. So, but the name change, I'm not for and against it.
A neutral.
Yes, but when we're younger, where Kotoka statue was at the airport, the historical account was that was where he fell when they killed him, when they shot him during the the counter coup. So that was how come they erected the statue and named the airport after him. So the statue itself had been removed as part of the renovation works. I think sometime in 2002 or 3, when President Kufuor decided to renovate the airport, then they lifted. It was like a quadrangle. With the statue was in the middle on a pillar about 10 meters high, with a gun, if I remember. Then the quadrangle was prepared around it. It's all been removed, and the airport has been remodeled. So it's only existing in name. If the plaque, if the statue is gone. So if today they want to take the nameplate and put another nameplate, even if it's named after Nkrumah, I would even like that, because Nkrumah built it.
Now, some have been, discussing this particular matter, and others say this decision is as needless and politically motivated one. Speaking on the AM show on Joe News Channel, Chief Executive Officer of the Consumer Protection Agency, Kofi Kapito, argued the decision to rename the airport is irrelevant.
You buy something, the person knows the thing is defective. You go back, you tell you, I will not exchange it. I will not even give you your money. We have stores in Ghana, foreign stores in Ghana, who has the audacity to write on the receipt, goods sold are not returnable. And you as an MP, you sit here and it's not important to you. I'm very, very angry at Parliament. Very, very angry at Parliament. The whole Parliament, especially Ayariga. What is also about renaming Kotoka? The most important thing that Ghanaians are going through is renaming Kotoka International Airport. Look, the government has done well. The dollar is coming down. Inflation is doing well. Petrol has gone down. You get my point?
I won't like this one.
Those are the kind of things I want to see.
Don't listen.
Don't tell me about some international airport renaming. Do you know how much it's going to cost the taxpayer? Because the moment you take Kotoka out of it, you have to re-change every single thing that has Kotoka on it. And we don't even think. We thought about Jubilee and what's it called? Flagstaff House. And some people promised that when they come, they will change it.
And they did.
And they did.
Does this come to you more political than?
To me, it doesn't make any sense.
Well, the party of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah have also waded into this particular discussion, where the National Communications Director for the Convention People's Party, CPP, Osei Kofi Akwa, saying the move is important to correct a wrong in the political history of Ghana.
After 60 years, justice has been served. Now, if we want to build a country, we need to be honest people. The hypocrisy in this country stinks. There are things people don't realize. When the 1966 coup happened, do you know what it did? It separated families. Certain people who were government appointees had to flee for their lives. They had to run in the middle of the night, leaving their children and wives behind. Some of them are still in exile, and I can mention one of them.
Who?
Senior Comrade Arrow from Pomanson, the father of Father Kabe from Pomanson, still in the UK. Otibonsu and other people. Now, when the 1966 coup happened, certain people lost their lives unjustly. They were not taken to court. They were not found guilty of anything, but the fact that they were associated with Nkrumah, they were killed. And that is why we are so happy that after 60 years, justice has been served. I believe that people who have lost their life, including my grandparents, who were members of the CPP, who were unjustifiably dealt with, okay, and some of them lost their lives. I'm sure today they will pacify wherever they are. So to Ejabrefo, wherever you are, this is your vindication. To Nana Takosi, this is your vindication. Nana Pokumesa, this is your vindication. This is to Nana Kwakumi, this is your vindication. To Nana Kwampoku, this is your vindication. To Osadifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, this is your vindication.
But the Transport Minister, Joseph Bukari Nikpe, says the decision is neither driven by political ambition nor intended to cause public disaffection, but aims to restore the original name given to the airport. Take a listen.
We all here have accepted that Accra is our capital city, marketed, rich culture, and also locational identity. That everybody in this world, especially in the West Africa sub-region, knows that where this struggle for independence had a lot to do from Accra. And so renaming the airport to Accra International Airport is of significant importance to the Ghanaian people and, for that matter, the African personality. Now,
So just gone by here, the Transport Minister Joseph Bukari Nikpe there. Let's bring in Ambassador Pakalote, Chief of Protocol and Communications to the Gamanche. We also have on the line Professor Osei Kwame Kwating. He is of the Department of History at the University of Cape Coast. I'm grateful to you, gentlemen, for joining. Let me start with you, Ambassador Pakalote. What do you make of this whole, effort to rename the Kotoka International Airport?
Well, I think I agree that the name of the airport would have to be changed. The change should be something which is to be done in consultation with the regional House of Chiefs, where we have our traditional leaders and who can come to a consensus on the type of name to be used. And I personally think that somebody like King Takitaria had done a lot as a chief and as overlord of Accra, and if his name were to be used, it would be very appropriate. However, if we cannot reach consensus on the name of the eminent chief that should be given to the airport, then I think I would go with the government's idea to go with Accra International Airport. It is the land on which we have the airport. Accra has been associated with the struggle for independence in different ways. We know of the boycott by Chief Bonny. We heard of the Crossroads shooting incident, Sergeant Ajete and Co. Accra has been well associated with the independence struggle. Even the polo grounds, where we have Dr. Kwame Nkrumah's mausoleum, is another pointer to the fact that Accra has been associated with our independence struggle. And once we have Kwame Nkrumah's statue there, mausoleum, I believe if the airport will go to an eminent guard chief, provided there's consensus, like somebody like King Takitaria would be appropriate, I think I would also.
So from what I understand from you, the traditional council has not been consulted on this.
I can't say for sure, but they have been consulted. I don't want to speculate on that.
But other people have argued that once the land on which the airport stands is La land, that's what some people are saying. The chief must be considered from the La land.
Well, I think when you are giving names to certain places, you think of a number of factors. First of all, if we take the various towns and the cities we have in Accra, many of the names were given, that the names of the streets were given to progenitors, people who had lived as first settlers in the place, people who have been associated with more development of the place, and so on and so forth. So I think the siting of the airport on land should not just look at a narrow factor like who owns that land.
Okay.
I think the greater picture is that, you see who is big enough to have the name put on the airport because of the development which he has contributed to the region or to the city.
What is the thinking of Gamanche on this debate? of renaming the airport?
Well, I have not had the opportunity to discuss this with him because, he's out of the jurisdiction.
Okay.
So I don't want to speculate.
I'm grateful to you, Ambassador Pakalote, for joining us tonight on Top Story. He is Chief of Protocol and Communication to the government. Let me bring in Professor Kwame Kwarteng of the Department of History at University of Cape Coast. Prof, I'm grateful to you. Now, I hear a lot of people mention history and that when we rename, we'll be recorrecting history. What is your own reading and how relevant this is to Ghana's history?
Thank you very much. And I would like to take the opportunity to greet all your cherished listeners who are saying that it's going to correct history. The changing of the name is going to correct history. I don't think it's going to correct any history. Rather, it is going to distort history. And it is also going to expunge events that are taking place in the past. Very important aspect of Ghanaian history. You see, you have to know that everything that has happened to us as a people from pre-colonial, colonial days, independence era, and post-independence era are all relevant. They are all significant because they affected Ghana either for good or for bad. So why do you decide to change a name? Simple because the person who had been named after the monument is somebody who led a coup d'etat. If you do that, I'm not happy as a historian. I think that Kotoka and all the National Liberation Council members have contributed to our history, and they are therefore historical figures. So if any historical monument is named after any one of them, I think it's appropriate. But if for political reasons, some people want.
Well, they've said it's not political, but the argument is that if you look at, Colonel Kotoka, he led a coup that toppled Kwame Nkrumah's regime, and the scar that lives on the minds of people anytime they see the Kotoka International Airport or hear it, it reminds them of the pain, and it does not serve Ghana well, and that's why they want to change the name. And they're right to say that because the person is a coup leader, you cannot have his name on such a national infrastructure like the airport.
If that is the argument, then the same thing will hold good for Rawlings. If you mention Rawlings Park, in the same vein, some people were hurt. Some people were executed. Some people were imprisoned. Some people disappeared miraculously. Or not miraculously, disappeared from this country mysteriously. And up to date, you don't know where they are. So if you mention Rawlings' name, it evokes bitterness.
But at least people argue in favor of Rawlings to say that.
A monument after him.
Yes, but people argue in favor of Rawlings to say that at least he is the one who ushered in the Fourth Republic that we're all enjoying today.
Yeah, but though Kotoka didn't usher in the Fourth Republic, he contributed to the overthrow of the regime, and under Nkrumah, don't forget that if Nkrumah had not been overthrown, a lot of Ghanaians would have died in prison or rotting in prison under Preventive Detention Act. So, just as Rawlings brought in or ushered in the Fourth Republic, in the same vein, the coup, 1966 coup, also brought relief to some people. But for that coup, those people would have rotten in jail. Those people would have died in jail. We know of J.B. Dankwa. We know of Obechebi Lampe and others who died in detention. So please, I don't understand why. And in any case, as a historian, my concern is the fact that they want to distort our history. They want to expand an important aspect of our history.
But so, just by changing the name, that doesn't expunge the history.
The airport
no, Prof, just by changing the name of the airport, does it do anything to Ghana's history?
Yes.
How
because
so?
With the passage of time, the next generation will never know about the role Kotoka played. That important role. That gentleman you spoke with before, the ambassador, was talking about justice has been served. In the same vein, the overthrow of Nkrumah's regime served justice to those who were sent to detention without trial.
Okay, all right. Prof, I'm grateful to you for joining us here on Top Story. Professor Sir Kwame Kwating is with the Department of History at the University of Cape Coast. So let me bring in Hassan Tampuli. He's Deputy Ranking on the Transport Committee of Parliament. I'm grateful to you, sir, for joining us. I mean, what's your own reading of this debate or these attempts to rename the airport Accra International Airport? We understand that a bill will be coming to Parliament. Is it already on with your committee, if you know anything about it?
So, good evening and good to your listeners. I think that when the majority leader spoke about it, he mentioned that the Minister for Transport would bring in the bill to Parliament. So it hasn't been brought to Parliament yet.
Okay.
But I believe that any time that it is brought in, shall get the benefits of the bill and the accompanying, more importantly, the memorandum that will be accompanying the bill. To be interested to see the reasoning behind, the sudden, appetite to change the name from Kotoka International Airport to Accra International Airport. Like I said yesterday to your station, Ghanaians voted for the NDC party for reasons other than renaming the name of monuments. And so I do not know how renaming the airport is going to put food on anybody's table. I don't know how that can lead to any payments to cocoa farmers who haven't been paid for months. I don't know how that is going to solve our bread and butter issue.
Okay, but the Majority Chief Whip Dafeamekpor is proposing that the facility should be named after a Ghana chief. What do you think?
About 30%. These are the matters that I believe should concern the government. Honestly, like I said yesterday, this kind of frivolous issues.
Yeah, we get that bit, Mr. Tampuli. If you are listening to me, hello, Mr. Tampuli. Okay, so, Mr. Tampuli, can you hear me? Hello, sir. Hello? Can you hear me?
Hello.
Can you hear me, sir?
Hello.
If you can hear me, I'm trying to pick your thought on the proposal. Hello? By Mr. Tampuli, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you clearly.
I don't know whether you got me, but
I got you. But I want to pick your thought on the proposal that the facility should be named after a prominent Ghana chief. What do you think?
No, so that is another problem. The majority yesterday said to the whole public that the airport is going to be renamed from Kotoka to Accra International Airport. Today, we are told that it would rather be named after a prominent judge. I don't know which one to believe, the majority leader or the majority chief whip. Don't forget that the majority leader and the majority chief whip had brought, a proposal, a motion to the floor of Parliament for the repeal of the OSC Act. And later on, they had to withdraw. So when they speak, I'm hesitant to even understand whether they are speaking for a point of authority or, it's just a mere pump. So let's wait for the bill to come to Parliament, then we will understand what exactly they want to do.
I'm grateful to you. Hassan Tampuli is Deputy Ranking on the Transport Committee of Parliament. This has been Top Story, brought to you always by Telecell Connect, and Energy's holy insecticide spray and coil. Enjoy a holy sleep, and also by Shield Pension Trust, into the future with you. My name is Samuel Kojo Brace. This is where we draw the curtain on Top Story, brought to you. Coming up next is Newsnight.
There are many reasons to connect, and it's all to put smiles on the faces of those you love.
Daddy, thanks for the
T-Cash, okay? I love you.
That's my daughter, Angela.
Meba Kojo, I mean sure why. T-Cash naba. No papa ina dawase.
Caring for my parents, that's my duty. I also get to pay my utility bills easily with Telecel Cash. And to the suppliers at my shop.
Hello, sir. Telecel Cash payment received right on time. Thank you.
I get to make them smile because I can pay to my suppliers' merchant numbers, even on other networks directly. My dear ones.
We keep the connection stronger when our family, friends, and business relations are happy. Live on cash, enjoy convenience, and make those who matter smile when you send them money with Telecel Cash.
Telecel, connecting energies.
Son, we are so proud of you for setting up this hospital. I really love those hospital beds and waiting chairs. By the way, did you import them?
No, Dad, I didn't. I actually got them from Kingdom Books and Stationery right here in Ghana.
Wow. We also bought our office supplies, safes, executive desks, and chairs from Kingdom, and they gave us expert advice on how to set up our office.
Guys, that makes 3 of us. I also got our sofa and bedroom sets, plus our dining hall furniture for our new home from Kingdom.
Wow, Mom, that makes 4 of us. I usually get my stationery items from Kingdom, and my teacher also mentioned that our classroom furniture was provided by Kingdom.
So there you have it. Whenever you're thinking about setting up an office or acquiring furniture for your home, etc., Kingdom Books and Stationery should be your first port of call. With over 40 years experience in the industry, we stock and supply a wide variety of globally sourced office and home furniture, stationery and equipment. Visit our head office, Takweje, Osu near the Osu Cemetery, Tema near Community 4, Takoradi opposite Vijay Mays Plaza, Cape Coast University Bookshop, Spintex Road near Absa Bank, Atomic Center Point Mall, Winneba University Campus, KNUST, the University Bookshop, and Santasi in Kumasi. You can also visit our shop online, www.kingdomstoreonline.com. Hurry while stock lasts. For further inquiries, contact us on 050-162-0810 or 0302-764-101. Email info@kingdomgh.com. Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited, where quality and affordability is assured. Terms and conditions apply.
This Valentine, don't just buy chocolates. Buy memories, buy laughter. Because love is not just in the air, love is on stage. Roman Productions, in partnership with Joy FM and the National Theatre, presents the Valentine Fiesta. Friday, 13th February at 7 p.m. only. Love on the ropes.
Don't talk to me. Small cheating that I've cheated. Look at how you are overreact. Am I the first? Will I be the last?
Saturday, 14th February at 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. Dubai or no sex.
Where have you taken me on vacation?
We went to Korea for Easter. We went to Elmina for Bakatoi. We went to Keta for Hogbachocho.
Venue, National Theatre. Tickets, regular 300 Ghana cedis. Couples, 500 Ghana cedis. And 225 for our loyalty card holders. Tickets available via the Rover app. Cover short code *365*535#. Joy FA, Airport Shell, Community 11 Shell, Dansoman Shell, and Bachona Total. Call 050-554-6010. Partners, Koba, Gino Jollof Mix, Ebony Condom, Stan Big Bang, M Notified, Roverman Productions. Be the difference.
The other day, I visited Kweku at his spunky new office to congratulate him on opening his business. And man, was I impressed. The business is just moving quick. The sales, customers, everything is just working seamlessly. The secret? He said,
it's MTN Business Broadband. In this fast-paced environment, we need fast and reliable internet to support all business types. No laggy online meetings, great download and upload speeds, impeccable business management systems, all inclusive. I mean, you can have it all.
Shout! I signed on immediately.
To enable your business stay ahead and stay connected, make sure you're signed on to the best internet made just for businesses. MTN Business Broadband. Sign up today on broadband.mtn.com.gh and manage your account on my MTN app. Call 0244-308-111 for more information.
MTN.
Hey, Andrea, challenge these days, new level crowd. Where did you pass?
Me, pass somewhere. I just switched for a better life. Hey. I switched for comfort. Look, your salary deserves better.
Switch?
Yeah.
How do you mean?
I switched my salary account to Fidelity Bank. Oh, okay. And that's my jackpot. I get higher loan amounts with lower interest rates, as well as personalized financial support. They gave me a loan to expand my
Hello, good evening. Welcome to News Tonight. Tonight, controversial bill set to reform Ghana's legal education and decentralize professional legal training to be passed by next week, as lead sponsor Rockson-Nelson Dafeamekpor insists no standard will be compromised.
A very powerful position on this matter.
Eventually.
Before March, before you rise for this in this.
I think by next week we should pass this.
By next week,
yeah,
it becomes law.
Yes.
We have details of how the new bill will ensure standardization. Is it bare minimum PhD holding judges from teaching at the faculties?
So if we introduce people like that cannot unless they go and take a PhD. So it's a way of. Yes.
I mean, you're qualified to teach.
Yes. And I have done some teaching.
Exactly. So what do you mean? Once you pass this, you can't do that anymore.
Yes.
Also tonight, Accra Metropolitan Assembly warns of a looming public health crisis following revelations from the latest Joy Clean Ghana campaign, which has uncovered unhygienic practices with how fresh fish meant for human consumption is being preserved in parts of the capital.
There's also a high risk of lead and cadmium contamination on these fishes. And when you eat it, you can develop upper respiratory diseases. Maybe you will not eat it. Maybe I will not eat it. But a family or a friend of mine or yours will eat it.
In business,
Ghana reference rate drops to 14.5%. The development expected to push interest rates down marginally for the next 1 month.
In sports,
Man City's Antoine Semenyo believes Ghana can make a strong statement at the 2026 FIFA World Cup.
And a bit later, traders at Malamata Market in Accra share mixed reactions to the latest drop in inflation announced by the Ghana Statistical Service.
The prices of pear is so high. The lowest price is 20 cedis. The prices of plantain is not that high, but her concern is the transport. It makes it very expensive.
We'll get an expert view on the implications for the economy and our pockets. We've got the latest of these and many other stories coming up in the next 60 minutes. You can be a part of this show by sending us a WhatsApp on 055 11 11 997. My name is Kenneth. Gyasi, details shortly. Welcome to the program. And tonight, the controversial bill laid before Parliament seeking to reform Ghana's legal education is set to be passed by the close of next week. That is the assurance coming from lead sponsor Rockson-Nelson Dafeamekpor. The bill, if passed, will decentralize legal education, taking it from the autonomous Ghana School of Law to the various law faculties in the various tertiary institutions. This is a move which has received series of backlash from legal luminaries like the Venerable Samuel Kojo, who fears legal education standards could be compromised. But the bill is fully fledged now and has gone through the second reading stage in Parliament. First, listen to the lead sponsor and Majority Chief Whip Rockson-Nelson Dafeamekpor, who says parts of the measures is to establish an independent commission to ensure the accreditation of the various faculties.
It will be doing this under accreditation.
Okay.
So you see, under Article 25,
GTEC?
No. GTEC has a role in terms of the curriculum development, but there will be a body set up for, but they will be working in consonance with GTEC, because GTEC is also set up by
GLC, or you're scrapping GLC?
We are scrapping GLC and setting up a legal education commission.
Okay.
You know.
It's a commission.
It's a commission. Yeah.
That sounds like it has a lot of teeth.
Yeah. I'm even arguing that it should be an authority. So when we get to the floor, we'll look at it.
But as it stands now in this draft, it's a commission.
It's a commission. Yeah.
And I also see here a provision is made for the National Bar Examination Committee. What's that?
Yeah, there will be a body that will administer the National Bar exams,
separate from the commission.
It will operate under the aegis of the commission.
Okay.
You know, but they will be in charge of the National Bar exams. You know.
Okay, so but what then happens to the GLC? It will exist as a supervisory.
It's a reform. Because a lot of lawyers are not happy, for instance, that lawyers get disciplined by judges. But we lawyers, we don't ever get to discipline judges who err. So why should a judge discipline me? Judges discipline themselves under the Judicial Council, which is a creature of the Constitution. There are subcommittees there are disciplinary committees as a subcommittee of the Judicial Council. They discipline erring judges. Petitions go there all the time. And so if there is a body that is supposed to discipline erring professional lawyers, why should judges dominate it? You know?
But this doesn't reform that, right? There's a separate conversation. Or it's in this one?
We'll deal with it when we get to it.
But what is certain from what you're saying is that you are stripping the GLC of its education responsibility.
Yes.
That it currently still has. Okay.
Rockson-Nelson Dafeamekpor is the majority chief whip. He also added that no lecturer will teach at the faculty level without attaining a PhD, including judges.
For instance, Professor Kumado, who taught me arguably some of the best things in constitutional law, never got a PhD. But he rather supervised people with PhD because of the depth of experience he garnered. So if we introduce this law, anyway, he's on retirement now. He's old, he's tired, unfortunately. So if we introduce, people like that cannot, unless they go and take a PhD. So it's a way of... Yes.
I mean, you're qualified to teach.
Yes. And I have done some teaching.
Exactly. So what do you mean? Once you pass this, you can't do that anymore.
Yes. So I've actually started my PhD.
That's interesting.
Yes.
Even judges. I know some judges teach.
Yeah.
So judges can teach.
A lot of judges have their LLMs. And because of their experience on the bench, they teach the professional courses. I think it's only in a few faculties that the judges come down to teach the academic program. But the judges normally will teach the professional courses like...
But they can't go to the faculty and teach.
Yes, in this one.
The law says you must...
Yes, so this one... But I think you are raising a very good point. So we may have to create some exemptions. Then when the person is like a Supreme Court judge or judges of the Superior Court, we may have to create that small exemption for them.
And with the bill currently before Parliament and having undergone a second reading, Rockson-Nelson Dafeamekpor is certain that it will be passed by the close of next week.
A very powerful position on this matter.
Eventually.
Before March, before you rise for this in this...
I think by next week we should pass this.
By next week?
Yeah.
It becomes law?
Yes.
Okay, if it becomes law next week, when does it take effect? You have
if we pass it by next week, then I believe that by the time our president returns to the House for the SONA, where we normally, the State of the Nation's address, which is likely to be getting to the tail end of this month, he would have signed it before, because I want it to feature in the SONA as part of the State of the Nation. So he would have assented to it. And once he assents to it, we will give some transitional period for its implementation. And that's it.
Central question for those who will have done LLB this year. They are not sure whether they should go and stress themselves with it. Should they wait?
So you pray that your mother faculty will meet the accreditation checklist and get accredited. So in that case, it's easy. So for instance, Senior Ansasari should be able to take me back if I had obtained my LLB from his school and I'd been, for some reason, I couldn't proceed to Mokola. He should be willing to take me back to do the professional. You understand? It should be easy. So the faculties, it's easier for the faculties to readmit their own products.
The only bar is accreditation.
Yes.
We've also been hearing from the minority who are sounding caution over rushing this bill through Parliament. Jerry Ahmed Shaibu is Deputy Minority Whip.
Mr. Speaker, I have indicated my difficulty, but as you can see, they have the numbers. So if they still want to proceed, there is no objection on this matter. I thought that for purposes of communality and progress, we should also be thinking of all of this. if the ranking were to be around, I would have even felt more comfortable because this is legal education, and he's a lawyer. You're a lawyer. The majority leader is a lawyer. The chief whip is a lawyer. This is about only an hour ago. I only cited this an hour ago, and we've even elapsed to say that we are not going to take it for the number of days it was supposed to be. But if you do not want us to, yes, I agree. We looked at item number 11, so we have considered that it should be elapsed. The time should be elapsed. But if time has been elapsed and we still want to proceed, it's okay. I mean, like I said, the normal thing is that you engage your ranking. But if you can say on record that you have engaged your ranking, that is okay. I would have wished to peruse this report critically before making some comments. I think the legal education, there is the need for reforms, but there is also no need to rush the report, like I indicated earlier. So I'd rather waive any commentaries on this.
Let's now take you live to Parliament and speak to our resident correspondent, Kweku Asante. Kweku, what is the status of this bill which the Majority Chief Whip says will be passed as early as next week?
On Tuesday, the bill progressed to the second reading stage. What that means is that the policy basis has been debated by Parliament and adopted, and yesterday that vote passed. What is expected to happen next is the consideration stage, where the clauses in the bill will be taken one after the other, where the amendments they will be taken. Today, it was listed on the other paper. The expectation was that consideration would have happened, but it didn't at the time Parliament adjourned about 15, 20 minutes ago. However, the expectation is tomorrow Parliament will start working on the consideration stage, and then clause by clause, they will start amending it. And if they are able to do so, then the timeline that has been set by the Chief Whip on the government side, Rockson-Nelson Dafeamekpor, is possible next week. But after all, he is a government Chief Whip, and if he's so minded to do it, they know what to do in speeding the process to get this bill passed. But today, the consideration did not start. The expectation is that it will tomorrow.
The Deputy Minority Whip, Jerry Ahmed Shaibu, is sounding caution that this bill is being rushed. Is that a sentiment that is shared across the minority caucus? Well, the leaders speak on behalf of their caucus, and so it is perhaps the reason why Jerry Ahmed Shaibu is talking about the fact that he believes that this has to take its time in the House for a lot more consideration to go into that. But yesterday at the consideration stage, there were a couple of, at the second reading stage, I should say, a couple of MPP MPs who spoke to it, who offered their broad support for the bill, but also cautioned the government that perhaps the matter of the quality of lawyers that is being churned out by schools should be a concern, but the policy proposition, the idea behind the bill is not something they are opposed to. But generally, we've heard that sentiment from the leadership of the NPP side that perhaps this bill is being rushed. Kweku Asante reports to us from Parliament. Thank you very much, Kweku. Let's still stay on the telephone lines and speak to Francis Osio. He's a member of the Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee of Parliament and also a co-sponsor of this particular bill. Grateful for your time this evening. Your colleagues on the minority side say you are rushing this bill. Why is that?
Well, good evening, Ken, and good evening to your cherished listeners. Let me place on record that this bill, though in the 7th Parliament, in the 8th Parliament came as a private bill. In the 9th Parliament, it is coming solely as a government bill being introduced on behalf of government by the Honorable Attorney General. And let me also place on record that this bill is not being rushed at all. If all of us in Parliament are at idem or are with one mind that it is the policy reasoning behind this bill is excellent, then I believe that this bill should have been passed way back last year and not even this year. You have to understand that the issue of legal education and the challenges confronting legal education in Ghana is a matter of reality. I have been in several discussions and even debates, including demonstrations by students who are just seeking for opportunity to have legal education. So this is the best time for us to introduce a policy that would deregulate or would actually open up access to law school. And the issues of quality being raised really does not come up at all, because this bill has thoroughly been subjected to scrutiny by various heads of institutions, when I say law schools and law faculties across the country. And they've offered very, very insightful suggestions that would help in the clause-by-clause consideration, and that would also help in the various amendments. So I believe that it is timely, and we must do whatever we can to ensure that the bill is passed as soon as possible for government to prepare to implement same by September this year.
There are other concerns also coming up that if this bill is effectively passed, for example, it says that the only persons who have attained a PhD will be able to teach at the faculty level. And even if you're a judge and you don't have a PhD, you will not be able to teach at this level. Does this not compromise on experience? Perhaps persons who have years of experience but have not attained a PhD, is this not going to affect the studies that are going to be churned out to the students?
Well, I mean, those clauses only have to do with quality of the faculty. And there are standards when it comes to faculty members who are supposed to teach various courses. I can assure you that the various suggestions and insightful contributions by the heads of various faculties across the country, some of these provisions are going to be amended during the clause-by-clause consideration. And so all the sentiments that have been raised, we would invite the minority MPs and all those who have concerns to just bring the concerns during the clause-by-clause consideration. They will be debated, and where necessary, the clauses will be amended to ensure that the bill will take its full effect.
Francis Xavier, so thank you very much. He's a member of the Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee and also a co-sponsor of the bill. Let's still stay in Parliament and speak to the ranking member on the Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee, Kwame Anyimadu Enchi. Grateful for your time this evening. Does this bill have the blessing of the minority?
Good evening, sir. And good evening to your listeners. The answer is yes. The bill is before Parliament. It was referred to the committee, of which I'm a ranking member. We have met as a committee. We have deliberated on it, and as Sylvia said, we have good lawyers who are leaders of institutions who assisted the committee in getting the bill. You see, in Parliament, when a bill comes, it doesn't leave the way it came. We may even change the nature and everything. So we have added flesh to the bill, and we are ready to present it to the House and do the when the report is now the second consideration reading is done. So we will be going to the consideration where we will be considering each and every point. And this will be done at the plenary, and every member of Parliament that is interested would come in now, bring their suggestions, fine-tune everything, and what they have done. Then it goes to the presidency for assent. So if you ask whether it has the blessing of the minority, I would say yes. It has the blessing of the entire Parliament.
And in its current form, are there any aspects of it you would wish amended, even if they are eventually passed into law?
Well, all the concerns at the consideration level, we raise them. But in our dialogue, we say that one person can decide and one person will not have. That's why after the committee's consideration, we bring it to the House for the plenary, the entire Parliament, to come in. So if anybody has anything to add or subtract, we would consider that. And that's why we say consideration, the rules are relaxed, and we see, it doesn't mean that you bring a proposal and it has to go. You have to justify it. Even the chairman of the committee would have to justify every amendment that will be proposed on the floor of the House. But this is a long-awaited bill. So we have to make sure that we do the right thing.
Kwame Anyimadu Entry, grateful for your time this evening. He's the ranking member on Parliament's Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee. Let's talk health this evening because a looming public health threat is emerging in Jamestown and parts of the country's capital where fresh fish caught from the sea is being preserved under conditions authorities say put consumers at risk. The latest Joy Clean Ghana campaign uncovered fishmongers in Jamestown drying fish on busy road medians, exposing them to vehicle emissions, dust and other environmental contaminants. While the practice is widespread, public health officers warn the consequences could be severe. My colleague Stephen Mensah has more in the following report.
Because of the vehicular emissions and the ties, there's also a high risk of lead and cadmium contamination on these fishes. And when you eat it, you can develop upper respiratory diseases. It is like some of the chemicals are carcinogenics. And not just that one alone. With the microorganisms, it can lead to diarrhea, it can lead to cholera, it can lead to typhoid fever. Some people go to the market, they don't even wash it. They just remove the dish and they want to taste it to see how palatable it is before they will buy. You stood there and they are telling you they are not selling it to human beings. Whom are they selling it to? Today is not the first time we've just come here. It doesn't mean that we've just got up and we are here. For the past 3 years now, I've been talking with these women. Maybe you will not eat it. Maybe I will not eat it. But a family or a friend of mine or yours will eat it. And when they fall sick, they will come back to you for money to go and treat. So it's a cycle.
That's Florence Kuchi. She's the Director of Public Health at the Accra Metropolitan Assembly. And beyond the exposure to fumes and pollutants, the task force also identified broader sanitation challenges, including poor waste disposal. Some fishmongers, however, say they have received little guidance or education from the Assembly on safer handling and preservation practices.
I have borrowed 30 fishes to sell. One is 170 cedis. They have seized all. If the mayor really sends them, we don't have anything to say again. This is where we dry the fish. So if they won't allow us to do it here, they should give us a new place. They should have waited for us to remove our fish. Tomorrow they can enforce the law after cautioning us today. But it makes everyone's fish up. We can't tell which one belongs to anyone. They have refused to give us a place to dry our fish after so many years. It is a baby and a fair catty. I jaw down, many watu, low and muluami. Low and a cabasi, a lobai, a mokobaye, abafoye, then abasi, nabaye. Abasi, then abaye, a fiano ye. You are not going to
Those are some fishmongers also expressing their frustrations there. Thankfully, we've been joined on the telephone lines by Florence Kuchi, who is the Director of Public Health at the Accra Metropolitan Assembly. Florence, the fishmongers say they haven't received enough education on how to handle situations like this. Why has the AMA not done that?
Thank you very much. Use this opportunity to your authority. And I bring you from the Accra Mayor on food safety and housing matters. You see, nobody can just get up today and go and start and so me, I'm the type of person.
Florence, I'd like you to reposition yourself so that we can hear you better.
Okay. Is this okay?
It is.
Okay. So as I said earlier on, I am the type of person I will not do something without providing a sleep for a way to fall on. Started education 6 months, 10 years now. I brought them to my office every year to come and talk to them. I myself, I use my own money, 1,500 to fabricate a fish drying rack. If I have asked these women to come for us to experiment, so that we experiment and even go ahead to do lab analysis to see the one that we have dried on the fish rack at a certain area and the one they have dried on the medium, to see which one is closer for human consumption. I did all these things, but these women still refuse and said what they want to do is what they will do. So we want them to know that the health of the public is more important than the economic gains that you will get. Because if you go to sell this contaminated food to somebody, it is already contaminated with a vehicular emissions. It's contaminated with that. It is contaminated with heavy metals, packaging, and it makes the food unsafe for human consumption. So they say that is what they will do. Even human beings, whenever there's an issue, they want to take their side of story for people to sympathize with them. But that is not how it is. You can't just get up today and go and asking people not to drive things at where they are not supposed to drive.
And Florence, now that this is starting to look like a public health emergency, what is the Accra Metropolitan doing to solve this issue?
It is not like it seems to look like. It is a public health emergency because it is a health looming emergency that is there. And we want to stop it. As you know, as I said, for all the 3 years that we keep on educating them, the assembly was not having a direct court within the assembly, the metropolis. So transferring all these women from where we are to a far distant court and come, it incurs a lot of cost. But now we have our court with us. And as I'm telling you, Kenneth, tomorrow morning you will hear that we are prosecuting these women. Even the system of the fish we could not collect because they were mixed with human excreta. Some of your officers even said, are you leaving this place? And I said, you think that is contaminated with raw human excreta? They use their hands to collect the human excreta. But these women will collect it. And they remove everything and send it to the market and go and sell it for us.
So what is the AMA doing about this? Are you going to inform security officers to possibly effect some arrests?
It is not about security. We are law enforcers ourselves. We are environmental health officers of the assembly. And the environmental health officer is a law enforcer by mandate through the laws of the country. We have the right to arrest. So we have constated the thing to the office. And we have invited them to come to the office. If they don't come to the office tomorrow, we know where they are. We will take all of them out. And we will prosecute them. After prosecution, we will speak with court for court to tell us how to dispose of that fish. Because we are not going to give it to them to go and sell it in the market for people to eat and profit.
Florence Kui, thank you very much. She's the Director of Public Health at the Accra Metropolitan Assembly. Let's do some inflation watch today because traders at the Malamata market in the nation's capital have been sharing the reality on the ground with regards to the drop in inflation announced by the Statistical Service earlier today. Well, latest data indicates Ghana's year-on-year inflation rate has dropped sharply to 3.8% in January 2026, the lowest level recorded since rebasing in 2021. The figures show that price increases have slowed significantly nationwide, with month-on-month inflation easing to just 0.2%. Listen to government statistician Alhassan Idrisu.
The key drivers of inflation in January 2026 from the data are 1. Moderate increases in food prices. 2. Declining non-food prices. 3. Slowing goods inflation, easing imported price pressures. And 5. Persistent but localized regional disparities. Together, the data tell a very clear story. Inflation has fallen sharply and consistently over the year. Price pressures are easing across most components of the CPI. While challenges remain, particularly in some regions and food categories, the overall trend is positive. This creates space for planning, confidence, and recovery.
The 3.8% drop shows that prices are rising much more slowly than they were a year ago. At the market, however, traders do not believe this translates into falling prices. Some of them at the Malamata market have been speaking to Joy News.
20 cities 20, 25, 30, 40. There's a unketeska wouldn't top pay. Uka almost say season, almost see a beba, and so a mother. And so parents would be also to be about from no beer to me Toby because he has a healthy food.
Kojo is saying that the prices of pear is so high because she was told that by the time the festive seasons were over, the price of pear would have reduced. But here we are in February, and still the prices of pear, so the lowest price is 20 cities.
Madam Ginger, they're better. Ubeyan quite to be with you, ginger 50 cities.
Auntie Amanda is concerned about the price of ginger. She says that the ginger, the sizes are so small and yet it's so expensive. And to prepare a little meal, you'll have to buy at least 50 cities ginger because no one sells below even 10 cities.
Well, they will say a season.
Auntie here is saying that the prices of plantain is not that high. But her concern is the transport, how the plantain is brought from the hinterland to the city. It makes it very expensive. And so she's hoping that at least when that aspect is resolved, the plantain, the cost of it, will not keep going up higher.
No, me first no here le 10 cedi be ane koloba le 15 le Kotoku Shinde Kotoku bibi agboagbe enene ko eba.
Sister Nyakwa say okra comes in seasons like what others have been telling us. So this is not the season for the okra, but the prices are relatively better than a year ago.
So that's the situation here in southern Ghana. Let's take you to northern Ghana and speak to our correspondent Martina Bugri in the northern region and Albert Sore in upper east region about the current inflation figures there. Martina, what have you observed, particularly about the prices of food in the northern region?
So for the northern region, when you come to maize that used to sell at 900 Ghana cedis, it's now being sold at 350. And the local rice we eat here, a bowl used to be 30 cedis, 35 cedis, but it's now 20 cedis. Tomatoes and a box, the big one was 1,800, but it's now 900. Pepper used to be 900, but it's now 300. And then a gallon of oil, the yellow one, and the small one used to be between 550 and 600. It's now going between 300 and 350. But the problem here is even though prices have dropped drastically, those who are selling food have refused to reduce their prices. A bowl of clinker still goes between 5 cedis and 7 cedis. And then rice, they start cutting from 5 cedis. Unlike in the past, you could buy rice 3 cedis, 2 cedis, depending on where you were buying it from. One other problem is that farmers are complaining the prices have dropped. They are unable to sell their produce. And even if they sell, they are unable to make their profit. They are unable to even get what they invested because it's gone so low.
Right. Well, thank you very much, Martina. Let's bring in Albert Sorry from the Upper East region. Albert, is the situation anything different from what Martina just told us?
Yeah, so here in the...
Unfortunately, we've lost Albert Sorry there. He's our correspondent in the Upper East region. But let's bring in Daniel Enim-Prempeh. He's an economist and also a lawyer. Daniel, grateful for your time this evening. The prices are down, just like our correspondent Martina in the northern region tells us. We are witnessing about 3.8% inflation for the first month of January 2026. What would you say has been the overall impact to this decline in inflation on the economy? Unfortunately, we've lost Daniel Enim there as well. You're still listening to Newsnight on Joy 99.7 FM. I understand we have Daniel Enim back on the line. Grateful for your time this evening. I was trying to find out what do you think contributed to this sharp decline in the inflationary figures, especially for the month of January 2026?
Right.
Thank you very much. According to the government statistician, the drivers basically are the food and non-food items, specifically the food inflation. And if you look at the season, it appears this season we've been very grateful, and we have a lot of food coming to the market from the food production centers. And moving away from the food inflation, which has significantly contributed, also one will also consider the fair stability of the local currency, that's the CD, against the international denomination like the dollar, which also contributed. And overall macroeconomic stability has indeed contributed to the steady decline in inflationary pressures that we have experienced recently.
There are two regions that experienced deflation. Is that a good thing for the economy at all?
Not really. If you look at the regional disparity, according to the government statistician, the northeast region, 11.2, far above the inflationary rate that we have of 3.8. So there should be a worry to policy formulators. And also the negative 2.6 in the Savannah region. It also has to be considered, in terms of the gaps, so that when we are looking at the regional segregation or the regional comparison, it shouldn't be too far away from the overall average inflationary rate. So as much as we have the 3.5, which is a very good news to the economy, interrogating the regional inflation, I think focus should be and emphasis should be laid in terms of policy formulation. And it is a way of also bridging the poverty gap and also ensuring that the living condition across board reflect fairly. So to answer you in a very simplistic manner, it is not true. We need to have a balanced scale, so to speak, in terms of inflationary figures across the regions of the country.
Daniel Enimprempe, thank you very much. He's an economist and a lawyer as well, and that brings us to business. And George Riafe is in the studio with the latest. George, what have you got for us?
It's an interesting discussion.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't necessarily. I think that we should also try and get this across. It doesn't mean that prices are coming down.
Yeah.
But the rate of increase has slowed. If you do a year, so January last year, January this year, that has been the margin of increase.
Yeah.
And that is why there's also even a month-on-month. Some have said that deflation is not good, or even very low inflation might not be good for the manufacturing firms and even businesses. So whilst we all look forward to rates going down, what should be the fair balance to encourage businesses to produce, or manufacturing firms to produce, also ensure that we also get some low prices on the market? Well, talking about rates, the Ghana reference rate has dropped marginally to 14.58%, a development expected to push interest rates down marginally for the next 1 month. And President Donald Trump signs into the legislation authorizing extension of the African Growth and Opportunity Act by a year. We'll hear from the Minister of Trade, Industry and Agribusiness on what this will mean to Ghana. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one-stop shop for all your office essentials. Synthesis tanks and Pepsodent, Herbal and Charcoal.
At Star Oil, we believe fuel is...
Hey, Andrea, challenge these days, new level crowd. Where did you pass?
Me, pass somewhere. I just switched for a better life. I switched for comfort. Look, your salary deserves better.
Switch?
Yeah.
How do you mean?
I switched my salary account to Fidelity Bank, and that's my jackpot. I get higher loan amounts with lower interest rates, as well as personalized financial support. They gave me a loan to expand my side hustle, and the terms are just flexible.
Wow.
Your salary deserves better.
Oh, my salary deserves better. You see the way you are smiling wide? Yes, I will switch and smile wider. Your salary deserves better. Switch to Fidelity Bank today and enjoy lower interest rate, car and home loan, personalized financial support, and a smile that lasts. Switch and smile wider. Fidelity Bank. Believe with us.
If I believe with us, Fidelity. If I know I lay your side, Fidelity.
At At Star Oil, we believe fuel is not just a commodity, it is a lifeline. Every cedi saved at the pump is a cedi that helps a mother send her child to school, a farmer transports food to the market, or a young entrepreneur deliver their first order. Our mission is to make fuel more accessible by offering consistently competitive prices, helping ease the financial burden on Ghanaian households. In a country where transportation costs can consume nearly a third of household income, this is not just business. It's a social responsibility. Star Oil, still quality and affordable fuels for all.
If you want quality, this be where you belong. Syntax, hey, it's tough, hey, strong. Oh, gonna shout and sing the song. When the sun they hot, Syntax no break. When the rain they fall, still no shake. Builders they choose and plumbers they prove. Any project you they start.
Brushing gets more fun with your kids with the new Pepsodent Kids toothpaste. Give your smiles protection that lasts. Grab yours today from a store near you. This advert is FDA approved.
Welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, the Ghana reference rate, a key benchmark in the determination of interest rates in the country, has gone down marginally. It dropped from the January rate of 15.68% to 14.58% for the month of February. More in this report.
The decline can be said to have been influenced by improvement in key indicators used in calculating the Ghana reference rate, including the monetary policy rate, which has been cut by a significant margin by the Bank of Ghana to 15.5%. Other factors include the Treasury bill rate ending January and the interbank market rate used by commercial banks over the past month. The drop can be described as a 1.1% decline from the previous month. However, some market watchers say the recent cut in the policy rate played a significant role in the revision. In terms of impact, individuals and businesses that negotiated their loans with commercial banks at a variable rate could witness some marginal reduction in borrowing costs. Additionally, those looking to secure loans from commercial banks within next month may also benefit from slight reductions. However, customers who negotiated their loans at fixed rate may not experience any reduction in the cost of servicing their facilities. The cut comes at a time when banks have been accused of not doing enough to reduce interest rates in line with policy rate cut over the past year. Some businesses, on the other hand, argue that they are still struggling to access credit despite these developments.
And that is a Business Desk report. Meanwhile, Chief Executive of the Ghana Association of Banks, John, who has been given more details and other factors that impacted this reduction.
We all were witnesses to the last announcement of the reduction in the policy rate from 18% to 15.5%. So that was a key driver of the downward revision of the Ghana reference rate. The other key variables that go into determining the Ghana reference rate did not really record significant variation. We had the Treasury net one-day Treasury bill just inching up marginally, increasing just a little, less than I believe 0.1%, and was compensated or cancelled out by a slight reduction in the interbank rate. So the three rates playing together then gives us the new Ghana reference rate, which 14.58 as has been announced.
John Ewa is Chief Executive of the Ghana Association of Banks. Now, President Donald Trump has today signed into law legislation seeking to extend the Africa Trade and Opportunity Act for Ghana and other African countries. The trade pact will allow exports from Ghana to the U.S. market duty-free and quota-free as well for 1 year. The Trade, Agribusiness and Industry Minister Elizabeth Ofosu-Gyasi says the development should mean a lot for Ghanaian exporters and the larger economy.
So we are happy that it's been extended. I'll show you why it's very important to Ghana. We have a young garment. Our major market is America. And so with garment and textiles very high on our plate in 2026, tariff or discontinuation of AGOA was going to affect us. Now that AGOA is extended, now garments and textiles can do very well because we are exporting. And you realize that the trade balance between Ghana and America is in favor of Ghana. We've been trading and taking advantage of AGOA. So I'm excited that AGOA is continuing so that we can continue to export to the market. We are coming up with 3 garment factories in Ghana in 2026. The targeted market is America. And so we are happy that we'll be able to export to the American market so duty-free, quota-free. We are going to employ more people. The estimation is that these 3 garment factories will employ 27,000 people. And so I am excited that this opportunity is there to help us export to the American market.
Trade, Agribusiness, Industry Minister Elizabeth Ofosu-Gyasi responding to the signing into law by the U.S. President Donald Trump today, that is the African Growth and Opportunity Act, for a year. Now, the significant reduction in the rate at which food prices are increasing on the market impacted positively on the January 2026 inflation numbers. There is more in this report.
The 3.8% inflation rate for the month of January is the lowest since 2021, since the Ghana Statistical Service rebased the economy and the items used in measuring inflation. This represents the 13th consecutive decline in inflation rate since last year. Based on the Ghana Statistical Service data, food prices played a major role in terms of this record decline in the general price levels of goods and services over the past month. A careful look at the numbers showed that the rate of increase with respect to the month-on-month has also slowed. Items like ginger and charcoal played some role in terms of contributing to these inflation levels. For instance, the price of ginger over the past 1 year had gone up by more than 50%.
And that is a business desk report. Meanwhile, government statistician Dr. Hassan Idrisu is downplaying the impact of the city's appreciation on the inflation numbers going down.
Inflation. So let me answer it from this angle. The inflation figures we report at the Ghana Statistical Service is driven by a number of considerations or factors. And I must say that if we want to categorize these considerations, then we can categorize them into 1, macroeconomic management and performance. That's 1. We can categorize them into real sector improvement or otherwise. That's 2. We can also look at what is happening from the global front. And then sometimes we can look at base effect, because sometimes base effect can also influence the disinflation process.
Dr. Hassan Idrisu is government statistician. Now, Bank of Ghana is proposing some drastic changes to how information of borrowers are managed by credit reference bureaus in the country. This was captured in the notice issued by the Central Bank that is on February 3, 2026. The Bank of Ghana has directed all financial institutions that borrowers' information can only be removed from their books when the entire amount of the loan has been settled. The regulator also noted that the credit history of the borrower can be kept on their books for more than 6 years. And that's all for business on Newsnight. Back to you, Kenneth.
Thank you very much, George. It's now time for sports, and Benaya is here. Benaya, even before you start your sports segment, you remember I told you yesterday that your team was going to lose Chelsea.
You're a hater.
I'm not a hater. I just told the truth.
What team do you support?
I'll not tell you.
Oh, you have to say it. You're either a United fan,
no,
Liverpool fan, or a Barcelona fan. One of these 3.
Interestingly, you haven't gotten my team.
Really?
The biggest team in the world. Look
Barca,
again.
Madrid.
Yeah.
But what Madrid and Chelsea there, we thought we were brothers. So because Madrid and Chelsea fans usually because we all hate Barca, so
we have a mutual enemy.
Charlie, yesterday, do I want my Fugu thinking that we are going to upset Arsenal and Charlie Kenneth.
Sorry, better luck next time.
So Man City and Newcastle will be in action today, and one of them will be hoping to join Arsenal at the Carabao Cup final. And one of the players who's been in form since joining Manchester City is Ghana's very own Antoine Semenyo. Now, he scored in the first leg for Manchester City when they played Newcastle at the St. James's Park, and we are hoping that he will be in he will score again tonight. And he's been speaking about the World Cup, and he says that, well, he's been left. Okay, let me say. So Ghana and England have been drawn in the same group for the 2026 FIFA World Cup to be staged in Canada, Mexico, and the USA, and they are joined by Croatia and Panama. Now, having spent all his life playing in England and now playing for Manchester City, Semenyo is confident that Ghana's game against England will be an opportunity to make a statement to the world.
We're gonna come in big bunches. I'll tell you that. I think big tournaments like this, we want to show our culture. We want to show we're different to other nations, whether it's dancing, whether it's singing, just supporting the crowds. It's just endless. I think Ghana runs through so many people's veins back home, and we just love football. So the World Cup's gonna be it's gonna be amazing. Hopefully, God willing, we do well, and looking forward to playing in America. We know, well, as Ghanaians, we know it's going to be a challenge. Their star-studded team, they have so many top-class players, but we believe in our source. Essentially, we want to show people around the world that Ghana are one of the top nations as well, and we can compete with the best.
Well, so that's Antoine Semenyo there. Feels good to have another Ghanaian like superstar like Antoine Semenyo heading to the World Cup with Ghana. I mean, we've had Thomas Partey, Mohamed Kudus, and the like. So it's good to see Antoine Semenyo also joining.
Yeah,
so hopefully it will make us proud.
And I'm happy with the form he's picked up since he joined Manchester City.
He's been on some crazy goal scoring form, and we hope he continues that. Yeah. So that's it for sports.
Thank you, Benaya, for bringing us sports. An administrative life at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology is grinding under the weight of an unfolding standoff as key officers, including University Information Technology Services, the KNUST Hospital and Library units, are pushed into partial paralysis due to withdrawal of service by university's senior staff. The action stems from an indefinite strike by the Senior Staff Association, who accused government and the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission of sustained bad faith, alleging unfair treatment and repeated breaches of binding agreements. On KNUST campus, junior staff and temporary workers have been drafted in to keep the lights on, managing only the bare minimum. Let's take a listen to some staff at KNUST.
Senior staff. So they are not here. One supposed to be here. Two, they are not here. Oh.
No, the whole song of the nuts. And there was some certain things that we first provide to items. Sorry, the other people, let's say patients. Let's say someone comes to someone needs to check in, check sorry, if someone wants to take people outside the slide. There's some certain procedure that one has to follow, for supposed to get us.
So that's the situation at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. Let's bring you back to Accra, to the Accra University of Ghana Dental School in Kolebu. And my colleague Ramat Bashiru visited the school to assess the situation. She's joining me in the studio with more. Ramat, what was the situation when you visited?
Kenneth, the situation at KNUST is not different from what we have here in Accra. When you visit the University of Ghana Dental School today, the only patients seen on the premises were those who had booked appointments before the strike. For that reason, new patients were not allowed to access treatment at the dental clinic. And then on the compound, workers were visibly protesting, seen with red banners around their necks, heads, and then wrists. And then red banners were also mounted on the entrance and around the dental school premises, an indication that the staff are observing the ongoing strike that they declared yesterday. All those medical staff were present on the premises. They declined to speak to us on the record. However, they confirmed that they are attending to only patients who had booked prior to the strike. So new patients, they describe them as walk-in patients, are not allowed to enter the premises to access treatment.
Ramad Bashir, thank you very much. Let's go into the telephone lines and speak to Dr. Bernice Welbeck. She's the Executive Secretary of the National Labour Commission. Grateful for your time this evening. We've already witnessed the crisis this strike is causing. What is the NLC doing to avert the situation? And how quick do you want this strike to end? Hello, Dr. Welbeck. Hello, Dr. Bernice Welbeck. Can you hear me? Dr. Bernice Welbeck is the Executive Secretary of the National Labour Commission there. We're trying to reconnect with her on the telephone lines to tell the position of the National Labour Commission as to what they intend to do to ensure that this crisis does not continue further. And as Ramat Bashiru brought us the story about the situation at Kolebu, and also we earlier heard about the situation on the KNUST campus where some temporary staff have been brought in to try to avert the situation there. And what is the issue with you as well? Are you experiencing anything at all in a hospital that you've visited, a campus that you visited? Let us hear from you. The phone lines are 055 1111 997 055 1111 997, and that's how we wrap up Newsnight tonight. Thank you very much for being a part of the show. My name is Kenneth. Gyasi, have a good evening.